from the 704 once again for episode 12. Well, no, actually, episode 13, excuse me. Plenty to talk about. But, yeah. Hope everybody is doing well. It's the 2nd of November. Daylight savings time gave us an extra hour. I hope everybody took yesterday to recover from being degenerates on Friday and Saturday. I know I did. And yeah, before I hop into the topics for today, I want to start off with a thank you. Thank you for all the love and support. I didn't really post about it, but not too long ago, I think maybe a week and a half ago, hit 1K in the past 28-day time period. 1K watch time, and then we're up to now I think 2.3. So nice to see the channel growing. So reminder to like, share, and subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Love the engagement, want the engagement. It helps grow the channel, and the bigger the channel becomes, the more cool stuff I can do and stuff I can do with this and opportunities that arise. And yeah. So appreciate the support. Let's keep it going. Next on the docket, before I hop into my first topic will be college football, because I have plenty to talk about. If you follow me on Twitter, once again, the social media links are in the description and are at the end of the video if you're looking for them. Very active on Twitter this past weekend, so I'll talk about that. But future of the podcast, future of the 815 exchange, talking about real quick here, next Monday, for all the people that are lovers of this 704, of us being live from the 704, I will not be in the 704 next Monday, and actually will be probably on the road back from, I'm going on a trip, getting away a little bit from everything with a couple friends. So I will not be here Monday, and for those that do not know, I film and edit this entire show in one day. It is a very time-consuming process that makes me kind of have to clear my schedule for all of Monday. So with that said, me not being here Monday morning at least, I had to make a decision on what type of episode I wanted to provide. And I think what I've come up with is I'm going to pre-record another episode this week, and it'll be the NBA draft kind of evaluation preview. Me going through some of the top prospects, saying who I like, seeing some of the sleepers, that type of stuff. Maybe some surprises in that episode. No promises, with time constraints. In situations, it's 2020, so you never know. But possibly some familiar faces showing up in that one. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Also, that kind of helps me transition into what I want for the future of this show, or what I want for the future of the podcast, and that's right now the current format we've had. Me pretty much doing the sports and entertainment recap here on today on Monday. And it's been the one episode a week type thing, and now that I've kind of feel like I've gotten this established and I'm kind of catching a rhythm, I want to help kind of steer into what my overall vision for the podcast, for the show, and to help kind of diversify the channel. I'm going to try to have maybe another episode when I can, where it's not so much a recap of the sports world or whatever, but we're talking about a particular topic, or I'm with a group of people, and because we're very, as I said in the very first episode, very versatile person. I want this show to be limitless. I want whatever we talk about to be limitless. That's also what I live by. I never want to put limitations on myself and what I can do and what I can learn. So, in the aims of being limitless, definitely want to help trying to diversify the content. So, those of you that are here for sports, there, of course, this will always be a sports-based podcast. But we'll be talking about different things in music, different things in film, or whatever stuff happening in our lives. For sure. Again, Probably won't see if you're looking for politics. It's probably not the place. However, if you haven't already, the election is tomorrow. Please go vote. I don't know when you're going to see this, but please, if you haven't already, go vote. If you have voted, thank you. Exercise your right. It's important. So that hit the future of the podcast. Got that done. Anything else? So yeah, gonna see some new content coming to the channel and to the podcast coming soon. And stakes are becoming limitless. Next week's episode will be the NBA draft episode, so it probably will not be a sports entertainment recap next week, but more focused on the draft since that's coming up and because I won't be here. All right. Small little water break. As we transition into college football, which is our first topic of the day. Charlotte, Clemson. We're gonna start off with Charlotte because I have a lot to get into with Clemson. I say this every episode. I'm gonna get to Charlotte. Blah 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 blah. We played Duke. If you know me, Duke, one of my favorite schools, my favorite college. Growing up, huge Duke fan here. Sorry to all my Carolina fans. We played, so my current school played my childhood school. And my current school got demolished. 53-19, just a complete performance from Duke. We really didn't have anything for them. But we got to take it on the chin. Conference play is what's important. And like I said, I think last week, trying to build upon what we did last year and kind of get back to that 500 mark. Rough start. It's been a weird year for the team with the cancellations and then the renovated schedule. For now, we're kind of playing, it seems like every top team in the state of North Carolina. But yeah, it wasn't a good game for us though Saturday. But world goes on. Now, I have been waiting. I have been waiting since, and I posted about it on Twitter, and the tweets will probably pop up here and there when I talk about it. But I don't recall, of course, since I'm talking about Clemson versus Boston College. Clemson escapes 34-28. But before I get there, I have to give myself my flowers. I have to toot my own horn here. Because I told you weeks ago about this Boston College team. If you go back, I forget which episode it was. I think it was week 2, so I forget, that would be maybe like episode like 7-ish, when they played North Carolina. I told you how good this Boston College team, I watched them. I told you how good Gervonta was. I told you. This is a Boston College team that is trending in the right direction. I was not surprised at all by the halftime score. I think it was 28-13. I was not surprised at all. I also have to get off, even though DJ played a solid game. Actually he played better than solid. He played a very good game. Especially for a freshman in his first start. DJU, definitely, like I said last week, he needed to live up to the billing. DJU lived up to his 5-star billing. So, credit where credit is due. However, I don't understand this narrative behind people just thought because it's a 5-star, 4-star factory, Clemson has all these top 3 recruiting classes, that they were just going to plug DJ in and it was going to be kumbaya and they were going to steamroll a good Boston College team. That was never going to happen. I'm sorry if that's what you expected, but that's not how this works. That's not how college football works. I'm going to talk about football recruiting a lot in today's episode, and just, a lot. I follow it. I'm, up to date in it. But at the end of the day, that 5-star and 4-star billing means absolutely nothing as soon as you hit that college campus. The Patrick Mahomes is probably, I guess, quote unquote, the best player, or even you could say Aaron Donald if you want to use defense, best player. They were not 5-star prospects. The best players are not always 5-star prospects. being a 5-star, how many 5-stars do we see at bust? How many 3 stars do we see, or 2 stars that we see become superstars? It happens. But nonetheless, you have to perform is pretty much what I'm trying to get at here. No matter how many stars you have to perform at the end of the day. So, Trevor. People are undervaluing how much Trevor means to this Clemson team. I don't know how this has happened, especially with him being the #1 pick. I'm not going to say consensus because of another guy coming up, and I feel like it's going to get kind of muddy here. Though you can't go wrong with either one of those two options if you know who I'm referring to. He's become undervalued. People think that Trevor Lawrence's value to this Clemson team is just based off of the touchdowns and yards and the big numbers and him winning a bunch of games and that stuff. And I somewhat get that perspective because I saw a lot of, this isn't the offense's fault that Clemson is struggling right now. It's all about the defense. And I get it, because unless you've been around the game at a competitive level or played at a competitive level or been around it at a high level, you might not understand or be able to see that there is also a psychological portion to not even just football, but any team sport. If you take away arguably the best player in college football, a future #1 overall pick in Trevor Lawrence, you take that off of that Clemson team, that gives every single opponent hope because you're thinking, wow, they're vulnerable. This isn't the Death Star. This isn't the unbeatable Clemson team that has lost one game in the past almost 3 years. You're thinking they're vulnerable. So, psychologically, Boston College already a good team. Not that they were going to play their hardest, not because Clemson already is #1 team in the country, have a target on their back. But that gives Boston College that extra motivation to think, you know what, we really got a shot here. Even though we're on the road, we're going to pull this off. So I wasn't surprised. I think people are undervaluing how much, that's another part of the piece that, in the package that comes with Trevor Lawrence, is his airplane just went by. His leadership skills. He's not only a great quarterback, not only a great player, but he's a great leader. I wish more people would shine light on that. We've seen all the off the field stuff, how he's become a leader for not just, he's embraced that role as the face of college football. And he's a great leader on that team. If you watch some of their social media content that Clemson brings out, I want to give a quick shout out to the Clemson football media accounts. They do a great job. That media team is fantastic. The stuff they do on YouTube, the stuff they do on IG, they knock it out of the park. Stuff on TikTok, knock it out of the park. You see that he is the undisputed leader on that team. The undisputed leader on that team. Not even just vocally, even in how he moves, how he operates. Him and Etienne are the two best players, you'll say. And maybe Etienne leads more by action, and he's going to need to step up as more of a leader, especially this coming week. But Trevor he's the guy on that team. There's not really an argument on the team. So I think the psychological impact of not having him was much, much, much more understated because, that puts a lot of pressure on the offense to perform. It puts pressure on the defense because you don't have Trevor to come save you or bail you out when mistakes happen. They're going to need to play much better how they played in that second half against Boston College. They're going to need that type of defense. Breesy, all those guys stepping up. They're going to need that against Notre Dame because Notre Dame is a better team than Boston College. They are a top 10 team for a reason, and they got some players on that defensive side of the ball that can definitely cause some issues for DJU and Clemson if they want to start off and start slow. It can get very, very ugly and very concerning and be another very, very stressful week to be a Clemson fan if Clemson starts slow again. And I don't know if they'll be able to come back this time. But good one for them. ETN 264, 2 touchdowns. Became the ACC's all-time leading rusher. And also broke the record for touchdowns in a game. Broke down on Pumphrey. Well, not touchdowns. I don't know how to word that. Most games with at least one touchdown. There we go. He broke that record. ETN unanimous for RB1 for me. One of the best players in college football. Had a rough first half also. Had that fumble, but came back strong. He didn't have the best rushing performance. Had a huge receiving day. He's a complete back, man. He's just a complete back. He's a superstar. Absolute superstar. Moving on from Clemson and Boston College and the whole Clemson situation. Another game we had this week, we had Georgia versus Kentucky in what was there was quite a few ugly games in just football in general, not just college football, but also in the NFL, which I'll get to later on. Just a bunch of just ugly, ugly games, and this was one of them. I feel sorry for Georgia and Kentucky fans that had to watch this one. 14-3 was the final score. Shout out to Zeus, Scotland County, former top running back in the nation, Zamir White. Had 136, but that was really the only remarkable performance. Besides, I guess, the entire Georgia defense, they showed out. But, yeah, very ugly game. I have questions for Kirby Smart, and I want to know how bad that quarterback room is, that Stetson Bennett is still at QB. I thought JT Daniels was cleared. I'm sure JT's got to be better. Stinson, I mean, just 2 interceptions. I think he under 200 yards per. He's not the guy. It was a great story at first, but he's not the guy. He's not the guy. I don't know what's going on there. Joey Gatewood for Kentucky. I thought he was going to do much better than he did. I think Kentucky's got some problems that are starting to be revealed here. And, nothing special from Gatewood. Very ugly game. Cincinnati versus Memphis. Cincinnati's for real, and I think they're up to, number 5 in the new AP poll. 49-10, they get the win. Ridder, who I highlighted last week, 5 touchdowns this week. If they keep this rolling, he might need to be in some Heisman combos with the stats he's putting up. Since he's for real, that defense is phenomenal. Memphis is a pretty high-level AAC team, so they're kind of just knocking out the best of the best in that conference. And they're up to, number 5? They're on the doorstep, number 5 or number 6, I can't really remember. But they're knocking on the doorstep, and up to this point, they've looked for real. So Cincinnati, definitely a team to watch, definitely a team I'm going to be watching and seeing how they do. Next game we got on the docket, man, is it's an interesting one, especially after the stance I took last week concerning it. Michigan, after I praised them and I praised Milton and how well they did, I have to take it all back. Well, not on Milton. Milton played a solid game. The play calling by Gaddis, Don Brown, Harbaugh, Michigan might need a clean house. They just lost to one of the worst Michigan State teams they may ever play. Michigan State 27, Michigan 24. Rocky Lombardi went off for 17 for 32, 323, and 3 touchdowns through the air. This is not a good. This Michigan State team just lost to Rutgers. This also makes me wonder how bad this Minnesota team is, who also went 0-2 this week, moved to 0-2 this week. Michigan, it's so confusing, and then I'm going to get to Ohio State later on in my college football recap, and when I get to the recruiting, I don't know if anybody is ever going to win the Big Ten ever again. Wisconsin, everybody's got COVID. disaster class from Michigan, and Harbaugh his seat needs to be Texas Pete hot. Flaming, I'm talking that last sauce, the last dab from Hot Ones Hot. You know, another team that continues to make no sense is Texas. They pulled off the upset in overtime over Oklahoma State. Shout out to Joseph Asai, who's one of the best defensive prospects, I think, probably coming out. He's going to make some NFL team very, very happy. He was a superstar. 2 fumble recoveries, 3 sacks, 12 tackles. Phenomenal performance from him. Sam Ehlinger has played in more big and close and tight games than I've ever seen. I'm very interested to see what he is as an NFL prospect. Of course, we know he can run. We know he's a leader. We know he's got that dog in him. But I wonder how well he can do throwing the football in that aspect. I think that's his biggest kind of downfall. Or else he'd be a great quarterback prospect. But yeah, he's a dog. Herman's job continues to get saved by him pulling something out. Tyler Wallace, one of the best receivers in America. 11 receptions, 187, 2 touchdowns. We're going to get to in the next game another phenomenal receiver. But yeah, Texas held Chuba under 100 yards. Big win over number 6 Oklahoma State. And the Big 12 has been knocked wide open once again, as they clearly do not want a playoff spot. Like I said, moving on to great wide receivers, Bama slaughters. I guess the SEC was ready for the air raid because 41-0 shutout for Bama over Mississippi State. Mac Jones continues to rise his stock. He's in the Heisman race. He's flying up draft boards. He had 4 touchdowns, but they all went to another, like I said, one of the best receivers in America, Devontae Smith, who could have went last year, if we're being honest, and been a pretty highly regarded receiver. But came back, and it's working out. 11 receptions, 203, 4 touchdowns, monster game from him. Of course, Waddle out for the season, so Gervonta stepping up big time for Bama. Bama, of course, looks deadly as always. Bryce Young got into the game. It was just complete domination. KJ Costello out for Mississippi State. Mississippi State is just bad. It's bad. It's just bad out there for them. Moving on, Coastal Carolina, who's now the number 15 team in the country after an absolute obliteration of Georgia State. Grayson McCall, freshman quarterback for Coastal, 254, 4 TDs. Coastal Carolina is undefeated. Looks like they might be that dark horse Power 5 team. We'll see as the season goes. Hopefully I don't jinx them. But big stuff so far from Coastal. Moving on, Notre Dame versus Georgia Tech. I don't really got much. I mean, you pretty much should have known how this game was going to go. Georgia Tech is not great. They may be great in the future. Got a young team, but not going to happen here. Kyle Hamilton and Notre Dame get the job done. Of course, Notre Dame's got Clemson next week. I mentioned earlier about how I feel about that game. It's going to be a very interesting one. I'll try. I won't be home, but I'll see if I can catch some parts of that game because that's what college game day is. It's going to be a very interesting one. Everything's set up for Notre Dame to be able to take Clemson out, but this is exactly the type of game that the Fighting Irish will blow and choke away. Prime time, number 1 team, they're missing their star player. It's all set up for disappointment for Notre Dame fans. But we'll see. They get the window this week. Ohio State. The Ohio State University, 38. Penn State, 25 in the game on College Game Day. I believe game of the week. Justin Fields continues to dominate. 28 for 34, 318, 4 TDs. Again, it's a 1A, 1B situation. You got Trev, you got Justin. I really don't think you could go wrong with either one. Fields, of course, has the superior weapons. Chris Olave, 7 receptions, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, 11 receptions, 111 yards. Even actually, a lot of great wide receiver play in this game because for Penn State, the one, and of course that catch that was on Sports in the top 10, Jahan Dotson had 8 receptions, 144 with 3 touchdowns. He showed out himself, but all Ohio State here. Ryan Day's this is the real Death Star. Everybody's saying Clemson, Alabama. Ohio State is the real Death Star. When I get to the Roundup, I will mention why they're the real Death Star. And yeah, they're up to number 3. They're definitely going to make the playoff. I don't see anybody in the Big Ten touching them. Texas A&M takes out Arkansas 42-31. Kellen Mond and Spiller. It seems like if those two are going, TAMU is a very tough out and can beat a lot of very good teams. Arkansas not bad. Sam Pittman's steering that ship in the right way. They're gonna be players I think in the SEC sooner than later. Big win for TAMU. They're actually having a solid season. Mond is having a solid season. I'm seeing some growth in his play. Like, once again, it's always been, can he put it together? Can he put it on a consistent level? And he's been doing that. So very impressed by him. UVA, my father would be very excited. UVA beats UNC 44-41. Sam Howell, how many times has this happened this year where Sam Howell has played a phenomenal game and dominated, and Carolina has taken an L? On the other hand, once I labeled them last week one of the best, arguably the best running back duo in the game today, Gervonta Williams, Michael Carter, they were nowhere to be found in this game. UVA did a great job. Diami Brown had over 200 yards receiving for Carolina, but UVA just stepped up and outplayed Carolina. They got the win, 44-41, put out a close one. It was a very good game. But yeah, Carolina kind of sliding here. I know they had a lot of preseason hype, but haven't been able to live up to it so far. And lastly, for college football, in a game I did get to see, well, some of it, I got to see it. Oklahoma 62, Texas Tech 28. In true Big 12 fashion, a 60-point game. Well over 80 combined points. In fact, 90 combined points, I believe that is. Rattler, 21 for 30, 288, 2 touchdowns. I think he's just going to get better as he gets more comfortable. Weiss had a big breakout game. Oklahoma, it appears, is going to be one of those teams that gets better over the course of the season. Got a lot of youth on that team. So after the past years of having that transfer quarterback, now having Rattler in, and he's a redshirt freshman. And the guy, just a lot of young players on that team. Though defense is still a problem, I think they'll get better, and he'll get better. Ramondre Stevenson returns on 13 carries, had 3 touchdowns. Big. Even though Pledger wasn't bad, Stevenson looks like he might be the better back there. And he did his thing. So, yeah, that's college football. Boy, combat sports is what I'll do next here on my notes. And my. Was it an interesting week in combat sports? Gervonta Davis. We're going to start off with Gervonta and Leo. I said Gervonta was going to win. Even though I didn't really want to do predictions, I said Gervonta was going to win. I said he had too much power. I was right. Tank sleeps Leo in round 6. It was a very good fight. Up to that point, again, Leo is warrior, but Gervonta is real. Tank is real. Probably one of the best knockouts we'll see all year. Hopefully I can get a nice little picture of that to flash up here. But yeah, next up for him, Tio. Gotta be Tio, even though he just had surgery on the split, I think yesterday. But it's time. Him and Tio, I think, is the fight to make. Ryan Garcia, I'm a big fan of Ryan Garcia. I think he's going to be a very, very good fighter. He ain't ready. Unless he shows some, drastic, development. He's developed at a way faster rate than I'm expecting. And he shows that against Luke Campbell and, dominates Luke Campbell or puts his lights out. He ain't ready yet. Golden Boy, Canelo and your team, do not feed Ryan to Tank yet. He is not ready. Tank needs to fight Tio. That's the next fight to make in that lightweight division. And a great win for him. Alexander Usyk, UD's Derek Chisora, unanimous decision. Usyk looked pretty comfortable in there, but I don't think he's taken out. I think that size differential is just going to be too much against the elite heavyweights. Talking about Wilder, who I would get to. but really Joshua and Fury, since those are the top two guys. I don't think I know he's a mandatory for Joshua, but I don't think, as great as a boxer as Alexander Usyk, he's a pound for pound guy right now. I don't think he's gonna be able to get it done. I think eventually it catches up to him, but we'll see. Can't really count him out. He's been this phenomenal so far in his career, but I think eventually it catches up to Usyk. But big win against Chisora proves that he can, fight here in heavyweight. In other boxing news, the Monster, Naoya Inuoe, KOs John Maloney. I didn't mention this last week, but yeah, I know the Monster, top 5 pound for pound guy, top 3 pound for pound guy, depending on who you ask, depending on where you look. The Monster proved he was a monster for a reason. Outrageous power for one of the lower weight classes, and yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. I thought he was going to KO Maloney. He did. Excellent performance from him. Very interested to see who they put him up against next, and how he keeps going. He's got all the momentum in the world, and I don't know if anybody can touch him right now in those lower divisions. Moving on to the UFC, we had Anderson Silva, of course, this was his last fight. We've had a bunch of retirements this year in MMA from a bunch of legends. The Hall of Fame card is going to look ridiculous with Seidu, who's looking to come back, Khabib, who Dana says is coming back, but Khabib's not coming back, DC, and now we got Anderson, the Spider, legend, absolute legend. If you saw him during his prime, if you didn't, go back and watch it. Dude was unbelievable. I know we got the steroids thing, but Spider's a legend, no doubt. Uriah, however, caught him in the 4th, put him down, emotional moment after. But, Silva's legacy at the end of the day, even though he went 1 for 7, I know there's a lot of talk about whether he's actually going to retire or if he's going to Bellator, which is a possibility. I hope he just retires. His legacy, it's set. The outstanding performance against Forrest Griffin, a very slow white boy. The fights against Chael is, he's a legend. Former pound for pound king. And yeah, hate to see that, he went down this, but I hope he doesn't go full BJ Penn and he takes this time to say, hey, 45 years old, this is it, had a great run, and calls it quits. Combat sports. My final topic here, Izzy versus Jan, confirmed by Dana, by Izzy. John Jones is going to be absolutely furious if Izzy does manage to beat Jan. Rob wants to be with his family. He's got a kid coming. So holding off on the middleweight title fight. Izzy's moving up to 205. Would not count Jan out. He's got that Polish power. I'm very interested to see, even though I know what he did in kickboxing, and he fought in the higher weight classes in kickboxing, Izzy did. And of course, he's got the body dimensions for it. Very interesting to see how he bulks up. Of course, he's the better striker. He'll probably be the favorite, but how he'll do with the weight of Jan, and Jan, who's going to be around 220 probably on fight night. How he does, so that's going to be very interesting and really is going to determine. I would not count Jan out. I think this will be a very competitive fight when it goes down. But yeah, can Izzy get 2 belts? He's beaten all the contenders in his division. The Rob fight will probably be sometime next year, but the next one up on the docket is Jan and Izzy, and that's a tough fight for Jan to get right after winning the light heavyweight title, to immediately get fed the last style winner. So that'll be interesting, and we'll see how that one goes. We'll see how that one goes. Yeah. All right, and before I get into the NFL, which I think I'll do as the last topic today, we'll end off with the NFL. But I'm actually going to go to music and film. Had some stuff pop up over there. The Mandalorin season 2, I believe it is, dropped. After I finished The Legend of Korra, I have Disney Plus, so I think I hit The Mandalorian. I've seen enough good stuff about it, and I'm a big enough Star Wars fan. I think I might enjoy it. So, episode 1 dropped. A lot of people liked it. Heard it was very good. Again, probably hear more about that in the future as I finish Korra. Definitely, that's next on the docket. Music, big week of music. Busta Rhymes dropped the album that apparently was pretty good. No, he had that song with Kendrick. Kendrick killed it. But it came out a couple years ago, or at least it was leaked a couple years ago. But apparently, Busta dropped a very good album. I personally didn't listen to it. I'm going to start off with the ones I did not listen to, or I listened to very little. Before I talk about the album I did listen to from this past weekend. But yeah, I heard Busta dropped a pretty good album. May check it out in the future. We'll see. For my pop fans, Ariana Grande dropped Positions, the album. People saying it slaps. The song with the weekend I did listen to, admittedly, because, you know, EXO. But it was good. It was good. Apparently, I was definitely in that R&B. She was definitely in that pocket, and very sexually charged album. Maybe I'll listen to the full album. We'll see. Depending on how I feel, I don't know. I've never admittedly listened to a full Ariana Grande, but I don't know. You know, we're trying to be limitless. We're trying to diversify here, so we'll see. WizKid, Made in Lagos, another very sexually charged album. Both of those, her and Ari, international superstars, and yeah, WizKid, Starboy, the Nigerian king, the king of Afrobeats, Made in Lagos. People said it was fire. I heard No Stress, that was fire. I actually started with her, and I know Kamaru. A lot of the African type people showed a lot of support for it. WizKid, a legend out there in Africa, a legend around the world. Young legend as well, but yeah, I heard that was a very good album. I'm actually kind of thinking I might hit that up and see what he was talking about. Heard there was a bunch of good vibes on there, so we'll see. But shout out to WizKid, shout out to Ari. They're doing numbers, probably their success. Shout out to Busta, he's an absolute legend in the hip hop world. Really just a legend in the music world, so shout out to them. I did listen to Welcome to O Block by King Von, listened to the whole album. My review score is I'm gonna give it an 8. Armed and Dangerous in the Code, I think, were my two standout tracks. But yeah, very solid album from Von. Did a lot of stuff, changed up the sound a little bit there, but it serves its purpose. The reason why you go and listen to a King Von song or a King Von album, you got there. I think he delivered. It had the energy that you would expect. So if you haven't listened to it, I would recommend it. If you're into like the Chicago drill stuff. But yeah, shout out to Von. Very good album. And yeah, that's all for music and film. Now, moving on, checking my time here. We got plenty. We got the NFL. We have the NFL. Thursday, we had the Atlanta Falcons take on the Carolina Panthers. Falcons get it done 25-7. Falcons, I mean, they're 2-6. I don't really know. Teddy did not play a great game. Panthers really just didn't play a good game, like, completely. Falcons are, they're not a good team, but they're underachieving so much. It makes it very almost paradoxical and strange for me. Because it's like, this is a game they should win, and they did win, but it was like, this team should be much better. They're still staring at a top 10 pick, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes for them. But I'm not convinced. Young Koku is definitely, shout out to all my fantasy players, definitely MVP of the game for them. He had 1, 2, 3, 4 field goals in this game. Yeah, and definitely I'd say it was playing a game for the Falcons. Again, I'm almost at a loss for words when I talk about the Falcons. I don't know how to feel about them. I do know how to feel. Of course, we had that great rant from me last night about this particular team that I happen to call my favorite team. The worst division in football is back at it again. For some reason, they got Sunday Night Football. I'm so sorry for those that watched it. 23-9, DiNucci got his first career start. Was not that good. He was pretty much about what you would expect from a 7th rounder. Carson Wentz, sucks. I'm gonna just say it at this point. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's trash. He's trash right now. He is trash at this current moment. I don't know how you throw 2 picks to Trevon Diggs. I admit it. I slandered the crap, not just out of this Cowboys team, but out of Trevon Diggs last episode. I had to. He deserved it. He earned that. But I have to praise him. He had 2 picks this week, so maybe there's hope for him yet. Maybe I need to slow down on the Diggs, or maybe that I need to slander Trevon Diggs more, and he'll play better. Maybe me slandering him makes him play better. If I flash that picture of Jamar Chase, that'll make him better. Maybe that's it. But you know what it's not going to change? How bad this Dallas Cowboys team is. Once again, this top 5 pick is going to hit so different. I'm so excited. I just wish I could fast forward and not have to see another Cowboys game for the rest of the year. Amari Cooper had like 1 catch, and I have him on fantasy, so I'm salty about that. Zeke is not. Trash. We're trash. That's it. We're trash. You know who else is trash? The New England Patriots are trash. The Bills get rid of them 24-21. Cam folded. When New England really should have sent it to overtime. Cam folded. I know I said he was going to be my comeback player of the year, but Corona took his powers, and this is not. I don't know what's. It's not looking good for the Pats. It's not looking good for the Pats, and the Bills are the new kings of that division. Undisputedly, they moved to 6-2. Josh Allen didn't even play a great game. Went 11 for 18, 154 and an interception, and the Bills still got the win. Shout out to their defense, because they played a very, very, very solid game. Zach Moss had a pair of touchdowns, and yeah, this running back revolution. Moss looks like he's going to be pretty good running back for them, especially in the red zone. I know he was a star out there in Utah, but Bills get the win. In surprising news, the Bengals 31, Titans 20. Joe Burrow is a franchise quarterback. If you didn't know, now you know. 26-37, 249, 2 touchdowns for him. T. Higgins, 6 receptions, 78 yards. They really got him and Burrow in the same draft class. It looks like a match made in heaven. I know Burrow's on pace. This would look like it's going to be, this rookie quarterback class is going to live up to the hype so far, with all the success they've had. But I know they said Burrow's on pace to break the attempts, completions, and like yardage record or whatever for a rookie quarterback. So big shout out to him. King Henry returns to his 100-yard status, but they still take the L. Corey Davis did stand out, 8 receptions, 128 yards, and a touchdown. He's definitely having a much better season than he's had in previous years. But yeah, big win for Cincinnati. They're clearly not as bad as the record entails. Again, they're in one of the toughest divisions in football, if not the toughest. And yeah, future's bright in Cincy. Future's very bright in Cincy, I believe. Also in that division are the Cleveland Browns. And I said there were a bunch of ugly games. Well, this was right in there with ugly games. Oakland wins 16-6. I don't know if I really should say much about this game. It was a disturbing lack of entertainment value. If you like defense, then this was a game for you. But if you like mediocre offense, this was not the game for you. Josh Jacobs, I guess, 31 carries, 128 yards. I mean, really, this was just a duel between Cody Parkey and Daniel Carlson, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I'm going to just move on here. We got the Colts and the Lions. Oh, my goodness, Naheem Hines. The spin move and then the flip. Oh, my goodness. What a play. I think that was number 1 play this morning. But, yeah, Colts get the big win on the road against Detroit. They moved to 5-2. Rivers 23 for 33, 262, 3 touchdowns. Hines 3 receptions, 54 yards. He had 2 receiving touchdowns. Wilkins actually led them, not Jonathan Taylor. Jordan Wilkins, 20 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown for him. Stafford solid game, but they had absolutely no run game. Absolutely no running game. Not even a semblance of a running game. I mean, they had 29 rushing yards. I think that should tell you how this win went for Detroit offensively. And yeah, great performance just all around from Indy. They could make some noise here. We'll see. I don't think they're like championship contenders, but they are 5-2. So you never know. And probably the biggest upset of the week, perhaps. Minnesota took out Green Bay 28-22. I don't know who saw that coming. A-Rod played a solid game, but Dalvin Cook went ballistic. Definitely time to put him in best running back in the league combos. Now that he's healthy, Dalvin's looking like the real deal, looking like he did back in the FSU days. He's a superstar. 4 touchdowns, completely dominant game for him. Gervonta Adams also showed out. He had 3 touchdowns, I think, as well, or something like that. Yeah, he did. He had 3 touchdowns. But Dalvin Cook was the star of the day. Really helped lift that Minnesota team. They get the win 28-22. Maybe this is a reversal of fortunes, or will Minnesota revert back? They've not been a good team this year. Green Bay's been a good team this year. But this is a very concerning loss, I'd say, for Green Bay. This is not the type of... The defense looked mediocre against Dalvin, and Dalvin, great game for him. Finally, some positivity from many fans. The Chiefs beat the Jets 35-9. As I pull it up here, the Jets continue their fight to get Trevor Lawrence. Darnold went 18 for 31, 33, so not great. But you know who was great? The best player in football. Patrick Mahomes, 31 for 42, 416, 5 touchdowns. Like we said, Chiefs are 7-1. Calm it down. After that loss, no reason to panic. The Chiefs are going to be in the AFC title game probably. They're going to be there. When we're playing those games late, and I guess now January or almost February, the Chiefs are going to be there. The Jets, however, are going to be picking first. They're going to be at the NFL Combine, and they're going to be very excited to see who gets that, which quarterback they're going to take. Maybe they end up switching up. Maybe they go with Fields. Maybe they go with Lawrence. That's a discussion I had at a later date. But, yeah, so far they're the leaders, the resounding leaders in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, and I think they're going to continue to be the resounding leaders in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Big performance still from Mahomes. I think he needed that to get his kind of swagger back. Tua wins his debut against the Rams 28-17. He wasn't great, but, did enough. Goff was a turnover machine in this game. 2 picks, had a fumble. Yeah, in the offense, I think the turnovers really ended up costing them. Big win for Miami. They moved to 4-3. I know a lot of people criticize the Tua move. I'm still a little bit skeptical, but we'll see as it goes. Miami, might be that. Well, not might be. They are the second best team in the AFC East, it appears. And even though I, questioned their moves in the past, it looks like Brian Flores has got that team going the right way. Rams fall to 5-3, and they're in a very tough division, so can't have too many more losses like this, to be honest. Game of the week: Steelers versus Ravens, 28-24, instant classic. Chase Claypool, Juju, Deontay. Listen, the Steelers wide receiver factory continues to do it. Big Ben makes a world of difference. This was a great defensive battle as well, even though it was 28-24, and we had some of the offensive firepower here and there. The defense really shined, especially on that last drive. Minka Fitzpatrick, even though the Dolphins did get first rounders out of this, it still feels like the Steelers fleeced them. I can't believe they got Minka Fitzpatrick. I can't believe y'all let the Steelers get Minka Fitzpatrick. Lamar Jackson, we need to have a discussion on whether Lamar can play in big games. He's lost every single big game he's played here in the NFL. It's very concerning if you're a Ravens fan. Just another bad performance from him in a major game. He's great everywhere else, but when it's time to play the elite of the elite, he's folded. And if they want to reach their potential as a team, Lamar Jackson's going to have to be MVP Lamar Jackson and not fold under pressure Lamar Jackson. Steelers made him throw, and he threw 2 picks. And, of course, that fumble at the end cost them big time. J.K. went over 100 yards. Solid performance from him. But Steelers are for real. They moved to 7-0. Best team, I got to say. I know a lot of people are hesitant, but they've proved it so far. They got to be the best team right now in the NFL. Not just off a record, but off the way they're playing, they're the best. Simply put. Chargers play the Broncos. Justin Herbert, Drew Lock, two nice young quarterbacks, and Herbert throwing through 2 picks, 29 for 43, 278, 3 touchdowns. Once again, Herbert needs his respect. Not his finest game, but this loss isn't on him. Drew Lock, he's got the sauce. He's got the sauce. Nice performance for him. 26 for 41, 248, 3 touchdowns. You saw the little shimmy at the end. He's got something about him that just kind of works for that Broncos team. And when he's on, and when the rest of that Broncos team is on, I think especially once they get Cortland Sutton back from his injury, they could really be a very good team in the future. Just need to keep making good draft picks, keep putting people around him, and I think they'll be a very good team. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Locke. They did a great job there at the end. Anthony Lynn might not be an NFL head coach after some of that decision making, though, at the end, I must say. Javon Williams versus Chauncey Gardner-Johnson after Chauncey Gardner-Johnson wiped my guy Anthony Miller's nose. And then he tore Williams' mouthpiece off. So, of course, Williams, and what was the big story on Twitter last night at least, Williams comes back, snatches his chain, pieces him up. Again, I still don't get the hold. Let me almost break my hand by punching the helmet thing. But nonetheless, the more important thing is the Saints win 26-23 in OT. Alvin Kamara continues to be wide receiver 1 and RB1, so shout out to AK41. Breeze 31 for 41, 282 touchdowns. Saw from him. Lutz hits the game winner. Saints, big win on the road here. Definitely needed that to help get them back on track and get them trending in the right direction here. And last but certainly not least, the Seahawks beat the 49ers 37-27 to take control of that division. Again, even though Arizona is still, I'd still say is right there with them, especially since Arizona was able to beat them. But Seattle in first place, 27 for 37, 261, 4 TDs, Russ for MVP. But DK Metcalf, I said it at the beginning of the year, he's becoming one of the best receivers in the league. Him and Russ are becoming one of the best receiver quarterback duos in the league. DK, 12 receptions, 161, 2 TDs. He's a beast. I don't know if there's any more to say. He's a beast. Russ is a beast. Russ for MVP. My time is almost up here for this segment, but he's a star. Ayuk, not a bad game for the rookie receivers. It's a great rookie receiver class, but all Seattle in this game too. So DK and Russ, man, DK and Russ. All right, now here at the Roundup. I said I was going to talk about some recruiting here, so let's get to it because there's a bunch of recruiting this week in both basketball and football. We're going to start off with football. Number 2 player in 2022 and the number 1 quarterback, arguably the number 1 player. Depends on how you favor Walter Nolan. I know he's number 1 in the conference, which makes him the number 1 player in the country. But Quinn is right there with them. Either way, a guy that's viewed as one of the best quarterback prospects I think we've seen. Originally committed to Texas, he decommitted after the theatrics of Texas last week, not past Saturday, but the week before. He ends up decommitting, and then everybody and their mother was crystal balled to Ohio State. Like I said I was going to say why Ohio State is the Death Star. This is why. Their 2022 class looks absolutely ridiculous. Quinn Ewers is crystal balled there. Damani Jackson, the number 1 corner and number 3 player in the country. Crystal ball there, still a number from USC, who returns this week. Thank you. Pac-12 is back this week, by the way. Damani, the number 1. I believe the number 2 and number 3 corner, Will Johnson, also crystal ball there. The number one receiver in the class, Caleb Burton, is crystal ball to Ohio State. I feel like everybody in that class is trying to go to Ohio State right now. They might never lose another Big Ten game again. Ever. So Ohio State building a super team right now for 2022 at least. Going back to 2021, we had some big stuff. Billy Bowman, four-star athletes, trying to figure out if he's going to play receiver. I think that's where he's listed right now for Oklahoma. We'll see. Comes from that Denton Ryan factory over in Texas. He commits to Oklahoma after being with Texas. Of course, his girlfriend, Jada, I think Coleman, one of the top softball prospects we've seen in a long time. She's going to Oklahoma now, so maybe that had a little bit of a factor. But also, Oklahoma has a great track record with receivers if Bowman is going there to play receiver. And of course, they got a wealth of quarterbacking talent. But Bowman goes to Oklahoma. Back to the 5 stars though. Quincy McKinstry, the number one cornerback, headed to Bama. He committed there. Another great addition, Bama. Though the secondary hasn't been as crispy, I guess maybe in the past couple of years. Though they've always had great corners. Sertan is phenomenal. And McKinstry is looking to become the next one in a long line of great defensive players for Bama. Sage Ryan, number one safety in the country, another 5-star. He's going to LSU, who of course got demolished by Auburn 44-10 this past week. I said they made Bo Nix look like an SEC caliber quarterback. But yeah, big pickup for them. Sage Ryan, number one safety in the country. We know, except for this season, SEC in the LSU, really LSU is known as DBU, so not surprising to see the number one safety go there and try to be part of the long line of NFL and elite talent that they have produced. Heading to college basketball, we have the number 19 player in the country, Damian Collins, commit to UK for 2021. Of course, the 2021 class. Big pickup for them, and really starting to get that class started. They've been really quiet so far in that class, and I think especially if they can get Jaden Hardy, we'll start to see some more Kentucky commits. You know how this goes. You know Cal's a beast. Same class, number 8 player in the country, one of the best shooters in the country, Caleb Houston, committed to Michigan. I know Duke was favored at one time, but ends up going to Michigan. I forget who he chose him over, but big pickup for Michigan. Michigan's been doing work the past couple of years in recruiting and building some talent and making themselves a contender here in college basketball, and they got another good one. We'll see how he starts from Montverde. Again, they were the number 1 team in the country, had one of the best high school basketball teams of all time last year. Houston was a big part of that, and we'll see if they can keep the momentum this year. For my racing fans, for my NASCAR fans, I know I talked about F1 I think last week. Well, we'll talk about NASCAR this week as heading in to the final race of the season. Phoenix, Chase Elliott clinched with a big win in Martinsville. He sets himself into the playoff for the Final Four with Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, and Brad Keselowski. I say Brad is probably the favorite there. But big win for Chase. Again, one of the best rising. Well, I mean, he's kind of established as a star now. Still one of the best, I guess, young drivers, if you want to say that. In the sport, and yeah. He's a star, and he'll get a chance to race for a championship. A lot of people wondering how they feel about the format. Kevin Harvick, who I even thought was a foregone conclusion to win the title, he got eliminated, crashed Kyle Busch in the last lap. However, Busch made it past the finish line. Harvick didn't. So he finishes with 9 wins. He was very frustrated, of course, but after dominating the regular season, pretty much the season up to this point, he comes just short after a bad stretch of races. He comes short and does not make the playoffs in shocking fashion. We'll see who wins the championship next week. I think it's pretty wide open. If I had to choose, I would say Brad wins. But we'll see. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got on my notes for the week. This is episode 13 in the books. Once again, a reminder to like, share, and subscribe. The support is much appreciated and helps the channel grow. And ultimately the goal is to be able to give you better content. And once the channel keeps growing, I'll be able to do that. Again, reminder: next week's episode will not be a sports and entertainment recap. I very highly doubt it. The plan will be NFL draft preview, so look forward to that if you're an NBA fan. Talk about LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards. I know there's a big thing about Clutch Sports. Had him and Maxey, had the pro. Listen, Rich Paul is just a better agent. I don't know why y'all are upset. Rich Paul is just that dude. No reason to be upset. He's just a great agent. It's not just the LeBron connection that helps, but Rich Paul is just one of the best agents in the league, period, in the association. But yeah, definitely will be interesting to look at. Even though this is not one of my favorite NBA draft classes, it'll be interesting to see where I think people are going to go, especially with the draft coming up and I mean, so yeah. Without further ado, thank you for watching once again. Like, share, and subscribe. Ocho. Signing off.